Hello, my friends. I'm so excited you tuned in to another episode of my podcast where we talk about the quest for you. So thank you for taking this journey with me. And today in episode 117, I want to talk about willpower. With all the episodes that we've had lately on New Year's resolutions and goals, many of you may still wonder about this one thing, this willpower. How will we summon sufficient willpower to see it through? This is especially a concern if you have succumbed to it many times before. And keep in mind the harsh reality. The more contrasting your resolution compared to what you currently do, the harder it's going to be. The less you enjoy what you will be doing, the harder it will be. And the more time it takes, the harder it will be. Deciding to give up something, replacing an old habit with a new one, introducing something completely new into your life. Any such change is hard because old constantly fights with new. Habits against change, routines and set ways against newness, and time against time. It's always a battle, and you are caught in the middle. Sometimes you are on top, and you go right for it. But many other times, you're fighting on the battlefield, and sometimes that involves losing. Any change, new habit, new addition to your life requires self-control and willpower. We are creatures of habit. We like our routines. They give us a sense of comfort and belonging. That's why change is hard, even small change. Remember, your mind and imagination is big, but actually turning the thoughts into action is hard. So you need to be clear about this before you set goals. Willpower is the fuel that drives self-control. Willpower's high, you're more likely to resist. But when it's low, you could be doomed. I have spoken about discipline and willpower before. I talked about goals and how you can turn them into reality. And so by now, I think you already know the following. You know that we have a limited amount of energy available to manage self-control. The more we consume that energy, the harder it becomes to maintain self-control and be productive. It's like a battery. We are fully charged in the morning. But as we go throughout the day and undergo activities that call on us to make difficult decisions, especially those mentally taxing ones, then our resources get depleted. And the more taxing, the quicker our power runs out. And you all know it. This shows up in lower level of patience, the inability to resist things that we are trying to avoid, and just in general less energy to work on difficult tasks. You may also know that willpower can be trained. I've talked about this. Self-control and willpower could be looked at as a muscle that loses tone if you don't exercise. This is why you will hear me often say to start small. With anything new or challenging you undertake, it takes time to get used to. It also, at the same time, trains your willpower. So, with this knowledge, let's talk about a few ideas on developing stronger willpower. My take on willpower and self-control is twofold. Never quite clear what my self-control levels look like, I try to avoid even having to engage it. And for the times that I do, I try to prepare as best as I can so I'm not surprised. So let's talk about these. The key strategy to avoid all contact with self-control is to control your environment. To do this successfully, you need to know your trigger points. Certain places, people, and circumstances will trigger old habits. Know what they are and avoid them. If you're trying to quit a bad habit, don't hang out with the people that still engage in that habit. Avoid the places where you're exposed to the old habit. In many areas in our lives, we are such a control freak. We always want to control what other people do, say, or how they react. It's time that we become a control freak with ourselves if we want to succeed with a goal. While we cannot control others, we can actually control ourselves. So you need to think hard. What triggers you? When? Are there certain times when you get weak? And then you prepare. When it comes to our own selves, we leave so much to chance. We rely on food to be available when we are out and about. We let ourselves be distracted, sucked into mindless activities for hours. We waste time with people that don't enrich our lives. We neglect our health by staying out late, overindulging, engaging in short-term thinking. If you want to be successful with your goals, it's time you become a control freak. Use the knowledge you now have about willpower and make changes accordingly. Go to bed early so you can feel that surge of willpower in the morning. And then control your environment. That includes the food you eat and when, the people you hang out with, and the stress that you allow in your life. Get a grip on your life and willpower will remain in the background. Become disciplined and self-control will not be needed. The less control you have over your day, the more you will have to battle with all the different forces placing demands on you. And this will deplete your willpower quickly. So be aware. You want to be in control, not anyone or anything outside of you. However, we all know you cannot prepare for everything, nor can you control everything. So the key strategy to ensure that you have a strong willpower is to train it, like you do your body in the gym. And this includes an efficient use of existing willpower. I realize that not everyone wants to quit something. Some of you may just want to undertake something new, but maybe you can't seem to find time. So here's my first tip. Knowing that willpower depletes over the course of the day, work on your most important stuff early morning. New yoga routine? Working on a blog, a book, or a website? Learning an instrument, a language, another new skill? Get it done first thing. Not only is your mind fresh, but you also get it out of the way. You feel accomplished when other people barely roll out of bed. Start your days earlier, no matter what your resolution is. Getting up early has by far added most value to my life. I have time for myself. I get more done. And I get those things done that otherwise I would never have time for in the course of my hectic days. My productivity is highest in the mornings. And that is also why I don't eat anything until late morning. Eating distracts me. Now I have glucose running through my veins and I start to feel less concentrated. I am the most productive early morning after my yoga and meditation. And I maximize that time for the tasks that are most important to me. And here's my second tip. Prioritize and minimize. The fewer decisions you need to make, the more willpower you will have in your reservoir for the activities that are truly important to you. So cut out the stuff that saps your energy and your time needlessly. And you need to think about what that is for you. You need to look at your day and discover the areas that pose a challenge for you. Are the lunch outings every day with your team leaving you tired for the rest of the afternoon? Make a change. Can you bring your lunch? Can you walk during lunch instead? Are there too many food items in your fridge that you don't want to let go to waste? Is this holding you back from staying on your diet goal? Minimize. We never need as much food as we think we do. Review your shopping habits. I started shopping almost exclusively at farmers markets. There are very few packaged foods available there, so the temptation to add stuff to your cart that you don't need is minimal. Get creative. Less is always better. The food that's not around can't be eaten. The devices not available or connected won't pose a distraction. Fewer but better people in your life? More quality to your social time. Cut out, get rid of things. That's an important part for making room for your new goal. And my third tip is this. Train your mind by finding the positive in your quest. The thing you're quitting, cigarettes, junk food, excessive social media, TV, maybe worse, drugs, cheating. The quest can feel lonely because so many people do it and it's okay for them. You see, I'm surrounded by carbs. And not just any carbs. Good stuff, expensive stuff, homemade, artisan, small batch, organic and freshly made. But just because it's extra good doesn't make it good for me. My good carbs are natural carbs in the form of vegetables. So if I sit down to dinner or at the coffee shop with the attitude of everyone can, but I can't in my mind, then my willpower gets depleted so quickly. I'll be thinking about the things I can't have the entire time that I'm there. And it has happened. I've sat in my favorite coffee shop and worked for a couple hours, and while I started out with only a cup of coffee and no hunger, after an hour of looking at my neighbors, savoring all the baked goodies, I gave in and got one too. But there have been other occasions where my mind was not set to I can't. Instead, I walked in proud of my healthy lifestyle, my accomplishments, and how good I feel. I was fine with just having coffee, tuning into my body, being present with myself and okay with myself. I didn't have a mindset of lack, but one of have. I have everything I need. My quest is a good one. Doesn't matter what others do. Here is what I do. You need to find the good in your goal. This is really important. And this is why I spoke at length about the importance your goal should have. The more important your goal is, the easier this part will be for you. Avoid the won'ts and the don'ts and focus on the wills and the coulds. When you constantly remind yourself of what you don't have, it lingers there in the back of your mind. Just like with my example. The thought kept popping up. They're eating bread, why can't I? And then self-control starts decreasing. Depriving ourselves of something only increases our desire for it more. So, you need to not think of it as depriving, lacking, or missing. You need to be good and know that you have everything that you need. Whatever your goal is, however hard it is, think forward, not backward. The past was yesterday, last week, a year ago. That was your old life. Welcome the decision you made and move on with it. This is your new life. It's not harder. It's not more restricting. It's not painful. If you think like this, then it will be. Embrace your new life with your changes and look forward to where this is leading you. Imagine the end result, the success, and keep your eyes on that. Focus on how much good this new goal is doing in your life. Wake up every day to this and walk away from your temptation with this thought in mind. And since this episode is already very long, I'm going to end here. Tomorrow, I will spend a little bit more time on the training aspect of willpower. So please tune in for that. And I truly hope that these episodes on goals and willpower are helpful for you, because I know that we are all struggling with this, and you heard from my examples, I do too. So it's not this mountain we overcome and we're done. It's a continuous struggle every day. We just have to focus more on it, and we will get better. With much love for today, I hope to see you all again tomorrow.